Hi, and welcome to another video by Jim the Car Guy. Today we have this 2006, it's a Chevy Cobalt. We're going to be changing the shocks in the back of the car itself. Fairly easy job. I did do the right side already, and I used air guns to do it, which went very quickly. Obviously, if you're going to be doing it in the street, you're not going to have the air gun capability that I do. So I'm going to show you how to do just some basic hand tools. You're going to need some metric sockets and a jack underneath the vehicle just to lift the rear suspension up off of the ground so that the shock absorber itself, the bolts will line up correctly. So I'm going to bring you in there, I'm going to show you how to do it, and we're going to get this job in and out really kind of quickly. So all right, let's get in there and show you what to do. All right, the first thing you're going to notice is that I do have a jack underneath it. And it's holding the rear suspension up a little bit, because when you remove the bolts here and here, it does drop down slightly. Not a big deal. It just drops a little bit. Now, if you're doing this in the street, obviously you want to put a floor jack or something underneath here while you're working on this. That'll compress the spring up, compress the shock up, and you'll be able to get it right in and out without a problem. All right, so as you can see, I have a jack underneath the rear suspension, holding the suspension up. That keeps it from dropping down a little bit. You wouldn't be lifting it up underneath here. You would actually be putting a jack underneath the bottom right over here, compressing the coil spring up a little bit, and that'll give you the shock will be compressed, and you'll be able to get the shock in and out without a problem. I'm doing it here on the lift a little bit differently. We are going to use just some basic hand tools. We're just going to use a half-inch drive ratchet to get in here to take this off here. I think that's a 18 millimeter up on the top here, and we're going to take these two out. And all right, let me grab the tools and let's get started. Okay. First thing we're going to do is we're going to break these bolts loose up here. These are going to be pretty tight, so you'll see I'm using a breaker bar to do this. You can just use a regular ratchet if you want to. They're really not that tight. Now that I have it broken loose, I'll take it out with a ratchet. Now I'm using a half-inch ratchet, but you can use a 3/8 ratchet. Don't mix up the bolts, because this particular car, they are different sizes. I'm going to take the shock out. We're going to put our replacement back in. Now you can catch either top or bottom, whichever you want. First, it doesn't matter. Just make sure you catch them by hand. You don't want to screw it in with the ratchet until you make sure it's totally tight. Because if you cross-thread it, you'll be pulling your hair out, because when you're cross-threading is actually it's the welded nut onto the back of the body of the car. So just make sure you screw it in by hand first. Nice and tight. Same thing on the bottom one. That's it. All right, fairly easy, not really bad. Okay, just want to point this out. If you try to get these bolts in and you can't get these bolts to line up in the back over here where they're supposed to, then what you do is you just lift the suspension up or down so you can get the bolt in. But make sure you screw it in by hand. Never use an air gun or a ratchet and tighten it in or cross thread it. All right, move the suspension up and down so that you can gain access to it. Okay, it's fairly easy once you get it all back together. Just make sure you screw these bolts in here by hand first so you don't cross thread them by accident. Snug them up nice and tight, and that's it, you're good to go. All right, as always, thanks for watching. Any questions or comments, you drop me a line. Be more than happy to talk to you about anything. As always, thanks for watching. See you on the next one.